Barakatay Hawa, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Various Topics, dated November 26, 2022, the year of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai turning up. And pretty much I just have this article here. Just kind of want to touch on a few things and see where the spirit goes. But this is from NPR News. This is article I ran into, I believe it was either yesterday or the day before, and I sent it to a couple of brothers. And pretty much what Esau's trying to do is they're trying to block anything that has to do with them looking bad and not looking so good. They're trying to erase that shameful history, and this is why you have this devil right here, Ron DeSantis. I believe he's the mayor. Is he the mayor or a governor from Florida? So it says here, with a nod to 1984. 1984 is a reference to a movie which was made off of a book, in 1984, where you'll have a future, a dystopian future, where the elite will be ruling and the rest of the population of the people of the earth will be, pretty much slaves, subjected to, to brainwash, a brainwashed world, So it says, with a nod to 1984, a federal judge blocks Florida anti-woke law in colleges. This was November 18, 2022, which this was actually about 10 days ago, actually 8 days ago. But I had just ran into it either yesterday or the day before. And it says a federal judge in Florida partially blocked the law championed by Governor Ron DeSantis designed to limit the discussion of racism and privilege in schools and workplace training, because this is centered really around the Israelites, because Esau has what they call white privilege, and they want to erase that out of the way. They want to move that out of the way. This is akin to critical race theory, which, they don't want people, they don't want the future generations to be taught about slavery, how America was started, how the so-called white man had the so-called Negroes in slavery, how the so-called white man stole the lands from the natives that were on this side of the world, so on and so forth, and how they have, more opportunities because of the way that they look. They're trying to get rid of all of that, try to make it seem like that doesn't exist and that it never existed, which it did exist and it still exists to this very day. It says in a 139-page order issued Thursday, Tallahassee U.S. District Judge Mark Walker excoriated the Republican-led bill and blocked it from taking effect in the state's public university. The state of Florida's decision to choose which viewpoints are worthy of illumination and which must remain in the shadows has implications for us all, Walker wrote. But the First Amendment does not permit the state of Florida to muzzle its university professors, impose its own orthodoxy of viewpoints, and cast us all into the dark. But the point is that this is being brought up because eventually this is what they want to do, is block all of this information from coming out, because once you start finding out how Esau had Jake in slavery, how they stole this land from the natives, which are the Israelites, and all of this information coming out, it causes friction, it causes a division, and they're trying to eliminate that because they're trying to establish a world of compliant slaves, and just a bunch of dummies, without the knowledge of history and things that have happened to bring these devils to the point where they're at, And the thing is that the Lord said in Habakkuk 2:14, for the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, as the waters cover the sea. So this knowledge is starting to take hold over the entire earth, because this word is getting out, That's a good precept, brother, put up. Job 34:22, there is no darkness, no shadow of death where the workers of iniquity may hide themselves, right? And the Lord is bringing it all to light. Yahushua said it. There's nothing that's hidden that shall not be brought to the light. So it says, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink. The drink is a representation of their philosophies. You know, the religious, social, economic, you know, the whole American dream, that cup of the heart that the whole world is drinking from. Well, they're putting this upon Jake. These devils that putteth thy bottle to him, right? Your bottle, what you feel should be, you know, that what they should be getting into, which what you're pushing is pretty much total rebellion of our people, the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians against our power. That's what you're trying to do. It says, and makest him drunken also, right? Because these things make you drunk. Because it's the philosophies, the religious beliefs, and the ideologies of Esau that makes Jake drunk, to the point where you have individuals like Charleston Chew White saying the stupid shit that he's saying because of the negative light that the scriptures have been painted in. But at the end of the day, the elect are going to receive it and the rest will not. That thou mayest look on their nakedness, right? Their nakedness is what? Their sins. The Israelites' sins. You know, everything that goes contrary to what the scriptures, you know, say, which is too much to number, but you have an idea of what it's speaking about. Here, this is the point right here. Thou art filled with shame for glory, right? So your achievements that you have and the position that you're in is stained by the shame that you have of how you got this. You know, that's why, matter of fact, when you read the 12th verse, woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establisheth a city by iniquity. So America has been established by iniquity. America holds sway over the whole planet Earth. So it says, thou art filled with shame for glory, right? Because you have glory, yeah, you're in the top position, but your track record of what you've done to get it is still trailing behind you. You know, those receipts are still trailing behind you, and you're trying to remove those out of the way. This is why I forget what party that was. Sarah Palin and them devils, they were trying to remove slavery out of the history books because it's a shameful history. But look, you did it. You did that. You know? And because you did that and it's shameful, you're trying to remove it, like your so-called critical race theory and this situation that this devil's trying to pass here, Ron DeSantis, you know, the anti-woke law, which is an acronym. It says, thou art filled with shame for glory, drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. Right, in other words, your iniquities and your sins be uncovered. Just like it says in Isaiah 47 and 3, it says, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. So right now you're going through the shame being seen, is being revealed. I will take vengeance and I will not meet thee as a man, because the first step to bringing forth judgment is to reveal first and foremost. So we have the word shame here. The word there is charapah, reproach, scorn, taunt. Scorn upon enemy, reproaching, resting upon conditions of shame, disgrace. So you have shame and disgrace that's hovering over you, because you can't sit there and say that the success that you've had is built upon the hard work that you put in, because that shameful past will always follow you. And this is why them devils, the small hats, you know, got rid of the majority of historical things that made them look bad, and only leave the ones of the what they claim to be heathens around, so that they may look benevolent, but they're the worst scum on the planet. All right. So going back to Habakkuk 2:16, thou art filled with shame for glory, drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. And we're witnessing shameful spewing, or shameful, like when you spit That's spewing. You spit. So the things that you've done are that spit, the witness of the wickedness that you've done. Hence, James the 5th chapter. Woe to you, rich man. You know, your gold and your silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. Something along those lines. So we look up the word shameful spewing. Is the word kwaya kwala one, disgrace, shame, right? So what you've done has been disgraceful, you know, and it's being brought out, and you're trying to hide it. You're trying to cover it up, but you can't. So it goes on to say the legislation previously called the Stop Woke Act, the acronym standing for Wrong to Our Kids and Employees, right? It's all about the kids, because they don't want the future generations to find out how wicked and demonic this place was. And this is what the devil does. He'll do all kind of wickedness, madness, you know, steal, rape, rob, and murder, and then he'll want to cover it up so that nobody knows that, you know, what he did or how he got there. Unbelievable. It's now known as the Individual Freedom Act. DeSantis signed the bill into law this spring. It initially took effect in July. The bill prohibits schools and workplaces from any instruction that suggests that any individual, by virtue of their race, color, sex, or national origin, bears responsibility for and must feel guilt, anguish, or other forms of psychological distress on account of historical acts of racism. And this is all Esau's done, because you can't bring, historical accounts of racism against the so-called Negroes, the so-called Latinos, so-called Native American Indians, because those are far and few in between. But now when it comes to Amalek and, the rest of the Edomites, there's a plethora of wickedness that they've done. Countless examples of the things that they've done on the planet. And this is why they're trying to get rid of this out of the way. It says the bill also forbids education or training that says individuals are privileged or oppressed due to their race or sex. Right. That goes into Jake being oppressed, Esau having privilege, women being oppressed, due to sex, Jake due to race. And these are all things that are true, but they're trying to sweep that under that poison that's been swept under the rug for so long. Inside Joke, critics say the bill is designed to prevent schools and workplaces from discussing racism. See, they don't even want you talking about it. What Esau has done to the planet is so wicked and so distasteful and so heinous that they want to be free from it. They don't want anybody to know about it. They don't want anybody to learn about it. And this is why the future of these devils is pretty much a dystopian future for the rest of the people. Putting them in a situation that you're just a slave. You have no rights. You have nothing to say. You just do as I say, and that's it. Where they control the narrative of everything. Everything that people think and operate and eat and sleep, and everything predicated upon them. As this guy Alex Jones said, a prison planet. And that's exactly what they're trying to accomplish. But they're only going to get so far. Okay? It says in August, a group of 8 Florida professors sued representatives of the state higher education system over the bill, calling the legislation racially motivated censorship. And that's exactly what it is. It's racially motivated censorship, because you can't, pinpoint on a large scale the crimes of Jake, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians against so-called white people on a scale that you can for the opposite of Esau, the so-called white man, against the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, East Indians, Chinese, and the rest of the nations of the world. It says aimed at stifling, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to stifle the truth. Widespread demands to discuss, study, and address systemic inequalities. And the inequalities are systemic. The racism is systemic. There's a reason why they've brought out, the neighborhoods that were redlined, the redlining and different things of that nature. Just reading the Constitution itself when it was established, that Jake was 3/5 of a man. That right there is an inequality, and it's a systemic racial inequality because of how you look. I mean, it goes deeper than that, but just on the surface. So they want to get rid of that because they don't want anybody to identify that. Critical race theory is a decade-old academic framework that examines how racism helped to shape institutions and traditions that exist today, and they have. Everything that you see today has all been built around racism. This is why you had to have your so-called, civil rights movements and things of that nature, because of the blatant inequalities that were happening. It says the idea was once confined to law school seminars, but over the past 2 years, the term has become a catch-all shorthand for a variety of conservative bugaboos. Workplace diversity trainings, protests over police brutality, and high school history lessons. Right. High school history lessons is predicated upon what? Slavery. How America, or how the Edomites got control of America in the world. And even Malcolm X said, our forefathers didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The rock landed on us. And ever since that encounter, it's been downhill, going back to 1492 to the present. So now they're trying to hide that because the Lord said he would bring shameful spewing upon them. It says DeSantis began pushing for the bill last December. In Florida, we are taking a stand against the state-sanctioned racism that is critical race theory. He said in a press release announcing the proposal, we won't allow Florida tax dollars to be spent teaching kids to hate our country or hate each other. Yeah, but truth is truth. Regardless of what the effect is, truth is truth. You did the crime, now you got to do the time. Hiding it ain't gonna make it better. But that's what the devil does. The bill is one of the most strident state legislature entries in the conservative culture wars over schools. Florida lawmakers passed it alongside the Parental Rights and Education Act, called the Don't Say Gay bill by critics. And notice every time you bring something up having to do with anything, the alphabet people have to always be included in it somehow. Black Lives Matter. What was that? That was all about the alphabet people. Anything that you see that has anything to do with anything, any type of social, social things that you speak about, always have to have that involved because they're trying to push that agenda. It says, which bans classroom institutions involving sexual orientation or gender identity in kindergarten through 3rd grade. And they're pushing that to the children. It says, in his order, Judge Walker, an Obama appointee, opened by reciting the first sentence of 1984 George Orwell's novel about life under a futuristic totalitarian government. And that's exactly what they're pushing. The New World Order is just that, a new world order. And this is why the scriptures speak about this agenda that they have that's going to be a worldwide thing. It was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13, and the powers in charge of Florida's public university system have declared the state has unfettered authority to muzzle its professors in the name of freedom. The judge wrote, this is positively dystopian, right? And the word dystopia means a bad place when you break the word down. It says Thursday's ruling is the second legal setback for the law. On August ruling also by Walker blocked another part of the bill that targeted workplace diversity practices. The law faces another challenge by K through 12 teachers. The DeSantis office is expected to appeal the decision, and they're going to keep pushing and amending and till they finally get it passed. And that's what the devil does. All right, so I'm going to leave you with this precept here, 2 Thessalonians 2:7. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. So it's already in power, in motion, going all the way back to the Roman Empire during the time when the Apostle Paul wrote this. Only he who now letteth will let So who's the he who will let? The Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, until he be taken out of the way, till Esau is taken out of the way. And the very first step to Esau being taken out of the way is, and then shall that wicked be revealed, because it all begins with revelation. Once you reveal, then you find out what the problem is, and based off of the scriptures, that's where the judgment comes in. You know, right now we're in the sentencing stage. After the sentencing stage comes judgment, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. Who is the spirit of the Lord's mouth? The prophets that hold the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, bringing out exactly what he's been doing. You know, it says, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, because first is revelation, then is judgment. And the brightness of his coming is the missiles plus the lasers from the chariots. That's going to be, that's the only way this place is going to be cleansed. Because it's impossible to clean this wicked place of all the bloodshed and of all the wickedness that has been done. All right. So I put this in the description box. I mean, we read the whole thing. It was kind of short. You know, I don't think anybody, I mean, unless you wanted to do a lesson on it. You know, so with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say, Shalom.